everybody, Morgan with the Vid Answer here, and today I'm making this Balloon Octopus centerpiece. He comes together really easily and has a wonderful impact on any kind of party setup. I've made him as a centerpiece here, but you could always turn him into a pillar really easily. So follow along and I'll show you how to make him. The supplies you'll need for today's project include 9 11-inch balloons, 3 260s in green. I've got one 11-inch balloon here that's got this cool marbling effect on it. I've also have 2 5-inch balloons that are eyeball balloons. And then I have 8 orange 260s and 1 spare 260 to tie this all together. Now I'm also using my electric pump for all of my 11-inch balloons, and all the others I'll use my hand pump for. In addition to this, I'm also going to be using my balloon base stand, which I'll have the video linked up above if you'd like to learn how to make that, but I'll be using that to twist the legs of my octopus here in a moment. I'll also be using my balloon sizer box. So this is something that I made out of a cardboard box, and I'll also have that linked above if you'd like to learn how to make one for yourself. I started off by filling my first 11-inch balloon with water, and this is going to be the weight for the entire balloon arrangement. So set that aside, and then we're going to inflate the other 8 blue balloons to their full size, and then using the balloon sizer box, I'm going to put the balloon right up against the 9-inch hole and slowly let air out of the balloon until it just fits through that 9-inch hole, and that will make it so that all my balloons are the exact same size. So go ahead and inflate all 8 balloons just like this, and then we'll start tying them together. Next, I tied all of the 11-inch balloons into pairs. So I'm going to take the nozzles of both balloons, wrap them around once, around twice, and then tie that together. And repeat that for all 8 balloons so we have 4 pairs. Once we've got all the pairs, we're going to put them together into quads. So I'm going to take 2 of my pairs and put them together so they're crossing up and the nozzles touch right in the center, and then I'm going to twist 2 of those balloons together, and that will lock all 4 balloons in a quad. Now we're going to bring these together to create the base of our balloon arrangement. So I'm going to put both of the quads on top of each other and nestle them so that the upper balloons are right between the lower balloons. And then I'm going to take all of those quads, and holding them in my left hand, I'm going to take the nozzle of the water balloon and twist it right up over all the nozzles of the quads and tie this together. And this is going to secure all the balloons together with the weight right at the center of the bottom. To make the seaweed in this arrangement, I'm going to inflate one of my 260s to its full length, and then once I've got it clear to the end, I'm going to burp the balloon a little bit so I can tie that end off really nicely. And then I'm going to start putting folds into this balloon. So by folding it over and giving it a squeeze that crimps the edge of the balloon, and so the balloon will actually hold this zigzag shape. So I'm going to work my way up the entire balloon, putting these crimps in about every 6 to 8 inches and getting closer together towards the end. And then I'm going to repeat this technique for my other 2 balloons, except I'm going to make them progressively shorter. So with this one, I'm going to make it 1/3 shorter by putting a twist in the balloon 1/3 in from the nozzle, releasing that air and tying it off. The last one, I'm going to turn it at the halfway point, let the air out, and tie that one off as well. And then I'll just finish both of those off in the same way by folding it back and forth and putting those crimps in it. Next is to tie all the seaweeds together. So I'm going to take the first 2, tie them in a simple knot, and then take the 3rd one and tie it to those nozzles. Then it's time to secure it to our base balloons. So I'm going to take the intersection of my seaweed balloons and put them underneath one of the base balloons on that top level. And I'm going to snug it so that the nozzles of my seaweed are right against the nozzles of my blue balloons. And then I'm going to take 2 of those seaweeds and twist them together, and that will lock them around that first blue balloon. So I'm just going to put these all right up in the center and not worry about arranging them until after the octopus is added. And speaking of the octopus, let's make him. So I'm going to take that 11-inch marble balloon and go ahead and fill it till it's full, which gives you a nice teardrop shape. If it begins to look like a light bulb, you've overinflated it. So I'm just going to tie it and set it aside, and then inflate my eyeball balloons to 2 pumps of air and tie them off. And I want to make sure that these are the same size, so I did hold them up to compare them. And once I've got it tied off, you'll notice that the pupils of the eyes are pretty tiny on these balloons, but by stretching the latex under the ink, you can actually make the pupil of the eye a lot bigger. So if you take the balloon and pull away from the printing and push on the bottom of the balloon, basically forcing air right under that pupil, you can expand that. So with a little bit of trial and error, you can try this out and just make the pupils as big as you'd like them. So if you want a beady-eyed octopus, you can always leave them small, but I wanted mine to look really friendly, so I ended up stretching them out till they were about 1.5 inches or 2 inches in size. Once that's complete, just tie them together and set them aside with the body of the octopus. Finally, it's time to make the legs of the octopus. Now, some of these I'm going to curl and some of them I'm just going to bend, and I'll show you both ways to accomplish that. So if you want to curl your balloons, you first need to inflate them fully and then let all the air out. So get it right to the end, release all that air, and that softens the balloon up and makes it a lot easier to curl. So once you've got that, you're going to take the very tip of the balloon and secure it to the pipe with either a clamp or some tape. And you can do this with any kind of rod. So I'm just using a 1/2 inch of PVC pipe in my balloon base, but a paper towel holder, a broomstick, anything like that will work for this. So you want to inflate the air kind of slowly and make sure that the air is going all the way to the end of the balloon. So I'm going to move mine up a tad, making sure the air can get clear to the end. And then once the air gets right above where I've got it clamped, I'm going to release that clamp and then put a tiny bit more air in so it gets to the end. Then remove it from the form and tie off your balloon. And making curls is as easy as that. And they're all a little different. Some of them are tighter, some of them are a little looser, but I felt like that worked really well for the octopus setup. I'm going to do some of the legs as curls and some of them as bends. So to make a bend, you go ahead and inflate the balloon like you normally would all the way to the end, burp it and tie it off. And then to make the bends in the balloons, we're going to stretch it in the areas where we want it. So with my thumbs, my forefingers, I'm going to press upwards on it in the same direction. And that's basically going to expand the balloon on one side, and that will create a bend in it. So I'm going to reverse the balloon now and go the opposite way using that same thumb pressing motion and make an S-bend. After you've shaped all of the legs, it's time to tie all of them into pairs. And once they're all into pairs, we're going to tie them into quads. So I'm just going to put the nozzles together and twist 2 of them together and repeat this again. So I've got 2 sets of 4. And then we're going to bring both of those quads together. So I'm going to have one on top of the other and twist a balloon from the upper level and the balloon from the lower level together until they stay nice and snug. And now we can bring all the elements together. So I'm going to take the nozzle of the body of the octopus and wrap it in between several of the legs, and that will lock the 2 pieces together. Then I'm going to take the eyeballs and put them between the body and the legs, and I'm going to bring them around to the front and twist them together to lock in place. Now we're going to add this to the base. So I've got that final 260 secured to the octopus, and I've just woven it a couple of times in and out of the legs, and then I'll secure it together. And then with the tail of that 260, I'm going to weave it in between the balloons of the base, and that will hold everything together. So I'm going to set the octopus right in the center of the base and arrange the legs a little bit, and then take that balloon, go underneath one of the blue ones, up between the eyes, around the body a couple times, down under another blue balloon, and that will lock everything in place. And then it's just time to organize the seaweed in the legs until you're happy with their placement. I hope you were inspired by today's video and give this a try. He came out so cute, and you don't have to be a balloon turning expert to make this happen. If you enjoyed today's project, please give this video a like and hit that subscribe button below. I'd love to have you join my creative community as I make all kinds of party planning, event tips, decorations, and balloon tutorials just like this one. You can check out some of my other projects over here, and until the next time, remember to stay creative. Bye! Stay creative! Crack myself up.